What a special day today, to be together just us two. And what a lovely day to visit in, that's true. And I'm fairly certain that you'll agree we're quite wonderful company. I welcome you to stay and sing and say, let's be together today. Hello to you, story friend. I'm glad to be with you. Do you remember the other day we read a book about a little pig named Clarence and his friend Smokey? Do you remember what kind of animal Smokey was? Or what color he might have been? Smokey was Clarence's friend, the purple horse. Well, I enjoyed reading that book so much last time, I thought we could read another. This one's called Clarence and the Great Surprise. So, there's going to be a surprise. What do you think that surprise might be? Well, why don't we just think more about Clarence, his friend the purple horse, and the great surprise as we enjoy our story time. Clarence and the Great Surprise, written and illustrated by Jean Ekman Adams. Clarence and Smokey pack very carefully. They are leaving on a trip. Smokey is going to carry Clarence and his suitcase over the mountains, rocks, and rivers of the West until they reach the big city. Clarence can hardly wait. But first, Smokey is going to show Clarence a great surprise. Clarence loves surprises. "What is it?" Clarence squeaks. "Something to eat?" "No," Smokey says, "it's not something to eat." After a few minutes on the trail, they stop and have a picnic. Clarence loves picnics. He sits on a rock and has a little sandwich. They climb higher and higher, up one side of a mountain and down the other, over a big rock and through some water. It rains and Clarence sneezes. He wishes he had another sandwich. That evening, Smokey sets up the tent. Clarence helps. He is a city pig and has never slept in a tent before. Smokey tucks Clarence into bed with his cloud hat and winds film into his camera. Clarence loves having a horse. The next morning, Clarence notices two things. Sleeping on the ground is Lumpy, and something is definitely following them. "Smokey," he squeaks, "something is definitely following us." Smokey says, "Oh, look, it's a little old dog. Looks like he's lost. Maybe he's coming along with us." Clarence does not remember anything about a little old dog coming with them. After breakfast, they decide to go fishing. Clarence has never been in a lake. The water is cold and zippy. Clarence shivers. "Is this the surprise?" "No, not yet," says Smokey. "The surprise is not a lake." After lunch, they take a nap. Then they do some cloud watching. Clarence sees one that looks like a donut. He also notices that the dog makes a little humming noise. "He hums," Clarence says. "I don't think he can hear very well," says Smokey. He clops his hoofs together loudly, and the dog jumps up and blinks his little eyes. Then he starts to dance. First a tango, then a hip-hop, a twirl, and a slide. He even has a tiny hat. Clarence is amazed. The dog sits down and looks hopefully at Smokey and Clarence. "He's not leaving, is he?" asks Clarence. "He's happy he's coming on our trip," Smokey says. You'll have to watch him to make sure he doesn't twirl away. Clarence curls up his toes and sighs. Clarence decides to call the dog Edgar. They come to a little town, and Edgar does some fancy dancing on the street corner. Clarence wonders where he keeps the tiny hat. After Edgar's dance, they are invited to stay in a hotel. Clarence loves the hotel. He really loves room service. Smokey orders hay. "Is this the surprise?" Clarence asks. "No, not yet," Smokey says. "The surprise is not a hotel." Edgar hums all night. The next evening, they meet some horses Smokey knows and stay up late singing songs together. Smokey plays the harmonica. Clarence is surprised that all the horses know the words to Home on the Range. Edgar hums and dances, and Clarence squeaks. After the singing, Clarence notices that Edgar is gone. "Smokey," Clarence squeaks, "Edgar is lost. He twirled away." They look and look under rocks and behind logs. They look up in trees and down in gullies. Clarence loses his favorite muffler. Smokey neighs and Clarence squeaks. They forgot that Edgar can't hear well. Then they find the tiny hat stuck on a bush. Clarence suddenly misses Edgar. He even misses the humming noise. Edgar is very sad too, lost behind 2 hills and a scratchy bush. He can't hear anybody. He doesn't feel like dancing. He doesn't even feel like humming. After looking all the next day, Smokey and Clarence finally find Edgar asleep. It's just before dark. Clarence's muffler is clutched in Edgar's paws. Clarence turns even pinker than usual and squeaks. Smokey clops his hooves together. Edgar wakes up and dances for joy. They all dance. Clarence is happy to see his muffler again, too. "Tomorrow," Smokey says, "the great surprise." The great surprise! Clarence and Edgar had almost forgotten. Suddenly, Clarence can hardly eat his bedtime snack, and Edgar fogs up his glasses, humming excitedly. They can't sleep at all. And then, the next morning, Smokey leads them to the great surprise. It is immense. It is huge. It is bigger than words. Clarence is completely squeakless. Edgar gets overly excited at the sight and starts to jitterbug. They find it hard to leave the great surprise. "Sometimes we have sunsets in the city, too," Clarence says timidly. "Only they're a lot smaller." He's quiet for a moment. "You won't ever twirl away, will you, Smokey?" "I will never twirl away," Clarence promises Smokey. Clarence breathes a happy little pig sigh and curls up his toes. Oh, wasn't that a beautiful surprise? All those mountains and valleys and canyons. Smokey must really care about Clarence to take him to such a special place. But Clarence and Smokey were really scared when Edgar wandered off and they couldn't find him. They might have worried that they'd never be able to find him again. That's why it's so important to let people know when we're leaving somewhere, no matter how old we are. Clarence asked, "You won't ever twirl away, will you, Smokey?" "I will never twirl away," Smokey promised. And even if we do want to twirl away or go off on our own, letting the people in our life know about it first is a way of saying I love you. And speaking of which, It's time to sing. So long farewell till our next story time, when I will be with you again. It's time to go till our next hello. Till next time, from me to you. And I enjoy being with you, always. I'll be back next time. Bye for now.